Hey everybody, it's Troy. Hey, listen, we all know that Fox News is just a right-wing propaganda machine. They do nothing but spread misinformation and half-truths and sometimes blatant lies. But this has got to take some kind of record. Mollie Hemingway appeared on the Fox show Outnumbered, where she told at least six lies in the less than 60 seconds. Mollie Hemingway is the editor in chief of The Federalist. She appeared on this program, Outnumbered. She's talking about Judge Chutkan. She's talking about Donald Trump's January 6th trial, the charges brought by Jack Smith against Donald Trump for his role in the January 6th insurrection. Trial date set for March 4th, 2024 by Judge Tanya Chutkan. They ask Mollie Hemingway to kind of weigh in on her thoughts on that trial date and Judge Chutkan and the whole case and everything that's going on. And she just lets go with a series of lies and misinformation. I'm telling you, this has got to be some kind of record. Watch the clip, and then we'll come back and talk about it. Check this out.
Strategic sort of hypotheses at play. What say you about this?
Well, just to take a look at what's happening here, we had from Democrats years of investigations into how to keep Donald Trump off the ballot, how to get him into prison. You had the January 6th committee, which was a one-sided committee handpicked by Nancy Pelosi to find out all sorts of information. They handed that over to Jack Smith, but then destroyed the evidence so that Republicans, once they took over Congress, could not look through it. Jack Smith had years to work on this, and other people at the Department of Justice. Even at the time that Joe Biden was elected, he said he hoped there would be a way to legally prevent his primary political opponent from being able to run for office. So you've had years of work put into this. The Trump team was asking for just a little bit of time to go through all the documents that they have gathered. This judge, who is very partisan, who's known for being partisan, says, no, we're going to do it right in the middle of the election season. And she's very partisan about how she's been very open about how much she hates Donald Trump. It seems like she should not be actually overseeing this trial, but that's what we have here. This is not election interference. I heard some people say, this is election interference. This is straight up election rigging on the part of Democrats to keep their primary political opponent out of office.
So let's break this down one by one, and shameless plug, you can read this article, this fact-checking on MeidasTouch.com. But let's break this down one by one here. So the first thing she says is that Nancy Pelosi handpicked the January 6th committee and that it was a biased, one-sided committee. So the truth about the January 6th committee is that Pelosi asked Kevin McCarthy to seat Republicans on that committee. It's standard procedure for when you're doing a select committee. At the time, the Democrats were in the majority in the House of Representatives, so Nancy Pelosi was the speaker and Kevin McCarthy was the minority leader. So on all committees in Congress, you're going to want to have a bunch of people from the majority and a bunch of people from the minority, just a smaller number of people on the committee for the minority. So Pelosi asked McCarthy to seat Republicans on the January 6th committee. McCarthy had 5 Republicans chosen, including Jim Jordan and Jim Banks. Now, Jim Jordan and Jim Banks at the time were subjects of the January 6th investigation. So Pelosi told McCarthy that those two could not sit on the January 6th committee. McCarthy flipped out, pulled all 5 of his chosen Republicans from the committee, and then refused to replace them, and then let the committee move forward without any of his chosen Republicans. There were 2 Republicans, Liz Cheney and Adam Kinzinger, on that committee that were chosen by Pelosi. But McCarthy pulled all his people and let the committee go forward without seating any of his chosen Republicans. So no, Pelosi offered to have a significant number of seats on that committee be filled by Republicans chosen by Kevin McCarthy, and Kevin McCarthy pulled his people in some kind of bizarre protest and then refused to seat anybody and then blamed Pelosi for having a one-sided committee, which became a talking point. So this is the talking point that she's echoing here. But no, Pelosi tried to staff that committee with Republicans.
They handed that over to Jack Smith, but then destroyed the evidence so that Republicans, once they took over Congress, could not look through it.
Then she goes on to the big lie in this in this rant, in this 60-second rant that's been debunked many, many, many times, and that is that the January 6th committee destroyed their evidence before the Republicans were able to take the majority in the House of Representatives, so that the Republican majority wouldn't have access to the January 6th committee's records and evidence. This is a blatant lie. This is not true. I think Donald Trump is the one that came up with this one, and they've all just been parroting it ad nauseum on Fox News and other places, that the January 6th committee destroyed evidence. It's absolutely not true. The evidence is public domain. You can go to govinfo.com. There's a link. You can go. You can look at all of the January 6th committee's exhibits and videos and records. They have it all for the public. None of it was destroyed. This is a blatant lie. Jack Smith even linked to that website in a response brief that he made to Trump, where he called out Trump for that lie, that the January 6th committee destroyed evidence. Jack Smith even called out that lie in a legal brief and pointed to this website where all the records are. Jack Smith then said that he had turned over 1 million pages of records that he had received from the January 6th committee. So no, none of that evidence was destroyed. None of it. It's all public domain. You could see it. So this is just a blatant lie, and the fact that she's repeating this, even though this has already been debunked several times, that is just sheer audacity to lie to people's faces and gaslight.
Jack Smith had years to work on this, and other people at the Department of Justice. Even at the time that Joe Biden was elected, he said he hoped there would be a way to legally prevent his primary political opponent from being able to run for office.
Biden never said that. That's taken out of context. That quote, he was talking to world leaders right after being elected. He was answering a question from world leaders whether or not, his thoughts on whether or not Trump would be coming back into power. World leaders were worried about a potential of a second Trump presidency. But no, he never said that he was going to be trying his hardest to prevent Trump from running for office. That is a mischaracterization of that quote that was taken out of context. And besides, there's nothing that Biden could do to prevent Trump from running. Hence the reason that Trump is running for president right now, even though he has 5 indictments. Nothing in Trump's indictments prevent him from running for president. And constitutionally, he can run for president even if he's in jail. So there's literally nothing that Biden can do to prevent, quote unquote, prevent Trump from running for president. Besides which, Biden doesn't have the authority to indict Trump. No one at the Department of Justice has the authority to indict Trump. Trump was indicted by grand juries of citizens, not by the prosecutors, not by Fani Willis, not by Jack Smith, and certainly not by Joe Biden. Trump was indicted by grand juries made up of citizens. So no, Biden doesn't have the authority to indict Donald Trump. And even if he did, nothing about being indicted and nothing about being in jail constitutionally prevents Trump from running for office.
So you've had years of work put into this. The Trump team was asking for just a little bit of time to go through all the documents that they have gathered.
The Trump legal team was asking for just a little bit more time to review the documents they had in their possession, by which she means 3 years. The Trump team asked Chutkan for a 3-year trial delay. They proposed a trial date in 2026. It was almost insulting. It was like they were trolling her with that date. It was an insult to ask for a 3-year delay in the trial. But then Mollie Hemingway goes on Fox and says that the Trump lawyers just needed a little bit more time to prepare for trial because Trump is running for president. And oh, by the way, Alina Habba was on Fox this weekend saying that Trump didn't need more time to prepare because he's not a normal person. He's a super intelligent wizard who doesn't need to prep for his 4 trials in as many states while running for president. So Alina Habba goes on Fox News and just dismantles the Trump team's argument that Trump needs time to prepare. Alina Habba said he didn't need time to prepare. So Judge Chutkan sets the trial date for March of 2024, and Trump's lawyers are fuming because they had asked for a 3-year delay.
This judge, who is very partisan, who's known for being partisan, says, no, we're going to do it right in the middle of the election season.
Well, first of all, Chutkan never said that. She never said we're going to do it in the middle of the election season like it was some kind of intentional thing. But secondly, the judge is not obligated to delay trial so Trump can run for president. There's no precedent for that. The accused doesn't get to dictate the dates of the trial. The trial dates are not appealable. The judge is going to set the trial for a reasonable amount of time to give both sides time to do discovery, to prepare for trial, and then they're going to have trial. They don't get to have delays so Trump can run for president, so that he has opportunity to become president again, so he can pardon himself. That's what all these delays are all about. Moreover, the start date of March 4th, 2024, yeah, that's right in the middle of the Republican primary season, but not the general election. The Republican primary elections, those are set by the Republican Party. The general election in November, that's set by the Constitution. That's a required election. The primary elections, those are set by the Republican Party. Those are party primaries. So, in theory, if they were desperate to have Trump available, they could move the primary dates. It's a little bit late for that. That's not realistic. But none of those elections are in the Constitution. Those elections are set by the Republican Party and state parties. So it's not like setting that trial in March was an affront to our electoral process. The general election, which is in the Constitution, is not till November. So this is another blatant attempt at misinformation.
She's very partisan about how she's been very open about how much she hates Donald Trump. It seems like she should not be actually overseeing this trial.
Which is absolutely not true. Judge Chutkan has a stellar reputation for being a very even judge, for being a very fair judge. She's got a great reputation. But then Hemingway says that Chutkan has been very open about how much she hates Trump. The quote, Judge Chutkan has been very open about how she hates Trump. Judge Chutkan has never publicly said that she hates Donald Trump. Another lie. Judge Chutkan has never said that. She's never come out and said, I hate Donald Trump. She probably wouldn't have been assigned to the case if that were true, that she had said that. That would indeed bias her as a judge. But she never said that. And again, she has a stellar reputation for being an unbiased judge, for being a fair judge. So this is another just blatant lie. She never actually said that. So by my count, 6 lies or half-truths or misinformation in under 60 seconds, in under a minute. This has got to be some kind of a record, even for Fox News. So Mollie Hemingway from The Federalist with just a deluge of deception on the Faux News channel. Something to behold, truly. Head on over to MeidasTouch.com. You can read the article about this, along with articles on all of the breaking news hits of the day. We do short news pieces, short articles on all the breaking news of the day. Every time you go back, there should be news stories up. That's what's so great about this website. We're constantly hitting all the breaking news of the day as only we can on MeidasTouch. So head on over to MeidasTouch.com to check that out. And in the meantime, smash that subscribe button to keep supporting independent media.
Hey Meidas Mighty, love this report? Continue the conversation by following us on Instagram @MeidasTouch to keep up with the most important news of the day. What are you waiting for? Follow us now.